And welcome to the Midday Show. I am Jeff Everett. He is Mark Messina, recapping the weekend, reading some headlines. The holidays are almost here. Snow is coming. We're going to hit a lot of different points today as we're reading through the headlines. Mark, how are you feeling today?
I think mostly good.
Welcome back. We hope everybody had a great weekend. Thank you to Weis Markets for being our title sponsor here through the holidays. Mark, how was your weekend?
My weekend was mostly what I do Saturday.
You don't even know.
I watched a lot of Army Navy.
Okay.
I went to see Miracle on 34th Street, CTL.
Oh, how was it?
Let me tell you something. I will. Full disclosure?
Yeah.
I don't love the story.
We don't like the movie.
I do not love the story.
Yeah.
The performances were fantastic.
Okay.
The dude who does Kris Kringle. And there are some seats available, I think. Okay. I should check. When I was looking last week, there were a couple. I don't know. If you want to go, you should go. The guy playing Kris Kringle, I think it's 42 years old.
Okay.
I'm telling you, for $1,000, whatever amount of money, if you were sitting in the crowd and they just said to you, how old do you think the guy is playing him? 42 was not. He was out of this world.
Awesome.
There were just some really good. The lawyer, who is the guy that was in the play with me, I thought was brilliant. The little girl was adorable. It was the and this is what I'd heard going in, because I got a review from someone who knew that I didn't love the story.
Sure.
And they're like, you're still not going to love the story, but you're really going to like the performers. And they were super good.
Yeah. Awesome.
Really
So
good.
You saw Miracle on 34th Street. I will plug something as well. So Miracle 34th Street at the CTL.
I think it's Thursday, Friday. They have 5 more shows.
Okay.
So I think it's Thursday, Friday, 2 on Saturday, and 1 on Sunday.
Okay.
Something like that. It's CTL. I always Google CTL or Community Theater in Williamsport. Yeah. The website is ctlshows.com. But you can find it. But if you want to go, I promise you, and I am not a Miracle on 34th Street fan, you will not be disappointed.
Okay. And I will plug, if you are stuck inside, because the snow is coming, at least we think the snow is coming, possibly Thursday, Friday. If you find yourself stuck inside at all, especially with kids, I watched Joe Smith's recommendation on Netflix of Klaus, the animated movie on Netflix. It is about how it's a spoiled postman. He's working with this toy maker to bring joy to kids. It is phenomenal.
What is it on? Netflix?
It was really, and it's quick. It's like an hour and 20 minutes because it's like an animated, so it's in and out. Really, really good. Norm Macdonald is one of the voices in the movie. And I almost fell over when I heard it because obviously he had passed away and all. And so I'm listening, and all of a sudden I turn to my girlfriend. I'm like, I think that's Norm Macdonald. And in my head, I'm thinking like, Norm Macdonald didn't do an animated Netflix movie like right before he passed away. And he did. So it is really, really enjoyable. If you have kids, the message is great. The animation is really stunning. Like, it's very well done. So Joe Smith I totally agree with Joe Smith. It is
well,
beautiful.
while we're doing more Christmas plugs, then last night, I also watched A Christmas Story Christmas.
Oh yeah, she told me that.
And I thought it was great. It dripped with nostalgia. Everything was so super tied into the old ones. They had the characters that were back, and it was not corny at all. Like, I thought the story was good. I thought they did a nice job with it. They didn't just kind of jam the nostalgia into being nostalgia. The one issue I had with it, the dude's wife was way too hot.
You say this all the time.
There's no way. It's just like Ross and Rachel. There is no way that this dude would have landed this wife in real life. But that's you got to get past that part.
It's never the inverse for you, though. You never come back and be like, that guy is way too hot for her.
because it's never true. Not on shows, it's never true.
You never say that. It's only one way. So there you go. So there's our recommendations if you get snowed in. Klaus for the kids.
Christmas
Story Christmas.
And
for the adults.
And if you get a chance, if someone has tickets, or if you are looking for something to do this weekend, Miracle on 34th Street. And I don't even know the dude because I'm asking, like, how old was that guy? And they're like, oh, he's young. And I was like, what? How young? Right. And I thought they were going to say, like, oh, he's only like 60.
Yeah.
Because and they're like, no, I think he's like 40, 42, maybe.
Right.
So it was awesome.
Here's just some headlines for us. And before we go into like some more nationally stuff, the Voice finale is coming up.
Okay.
Morgan Miles is in the top 5. So she will be in the live finales. Should be tonight. And then I believe the results are tomorrow. So the next 2 days, if you want to see Morgan Miles, the Weis Sport native, compete for the title of The Voice, you can tune into NBC to check it out. Pretty neat.
The further she goes on, the thing that, like, when I heard her sing, I was impressed. And the first time, because I'd never heard her sing before until the audition or whatever, when the show started. And the first time I heard her, I thought, wow, she is really good.
Yeah.
And the more it goes on, like, normal people are like, hey, good for her. Hey, good for her. Hey. And every time she advances, I don't think, hey, good for her. I think, holy cow, is it hard to make it in that business?
Sure.
Because she's been working it for years, and she hasn't broken through. And to be as talented as she is, now this could be the springboard. And she's obviously making a name for herself. I bet she gets an opening act on a big tour or something. People are gonna want to work with her now a little bit, whether it's songwriters or whomever. But with each passing week, it's just more and more to me, like, how hard that business must be to get your big break.
Yeah, I think there's 2 levels of success, right? So I think there's the success where she has found a way to make a living. Like, even before
she's doing what she loves.
She was successful. She was doing what she loved. She found a way to make a living. What you're getting at, though, is I think what, like, the stardom or kind of like the next phase of that success. Is that a fair way to put it?
Yeah, I mean, when you hear her sing, she sings as well. I'm not gonna say as well as anybody. But it's not like she's pretty good.
Oh, no,
like, she is legit. Awesome.
One of the things, because I've had to keep up with it for here, helping out with some of the columns. One of the things that I've noticed going through it, a lot of times, which I love, I think I've told you before, I watch almost all of the opening rounds of The Voice. And then once they have them picked, I don't watch it anymore. I just like the chairs turning around, that whole aspect of it. One of the things with The Voice is, I think when you're younger and then they turn the chair and it's like, oh my gosh, this person's only
12.
18. Yes. And I think a lot of times winners it's the spectacle that I can't believe this person is doing it. She has almost 180'd it, where she is so polished and you can tell there's a comfort level for her that the other competitors did not have. So it's this weird thing where I think she's almost flipped it on its head. And it's not so much like, oh my gosh, this person's only 16 and I can't believe she has all this potential. And she's almost the opposite, like, oh my gosh, look how great this person is. She's so polished. Like, she's a comfort to it. She's a pro. So it is weird how, in my opinion, watching through it, it does feel like she's kind of flipped the way we typically would watch the show. Being polished in a way and experienced helped her, when most of the time you want to be kind of like the newer, fresh-eyed, like, oh, the potential, it's flowing. And for her, it's like, no, she's just really good at what she does. It's incredibly.
No, and the story obviously resonates with us because she went to Loyalsock and she's a local girl. But just to think how many other Morgan Mileses are out there that are really good, that are working it, that are in Nashville, that are on the road.
Yeah.
I remember a thing with it wasn't Calvin Sampson, it was the other guy, Bruce Pearl.
Okay.
Who's a college basketball coach and has been really successful. He's been in trouble a couple times, hasn't he?
With like recruiting
violations and stuff like that. But he was a Division II coach, I want to say, out in the Midwest, and making the 6-hour bus rides and the 8-hour bus rides. And he said to me, that's why I really, really learned to coach. And he said, you don't know, there are so many good coaches out there at some of these lower levels who just never get a shot because they're never in the right place, the right time, or don't have the right connection.
Sure.
And the Morgan Miles has reminded me of that because she is that good.
Yeah. Yeah, really, really talented. So just wanted to mention that NBC, I believe it's the next 2 nights. So it's tonight and tomorrow. If you want to see if Morgan Miles has a chance to win it. If you look at some of the betting odds, because I was looking last night, she is the favorite on most of the. Now
Is she really?
Now it means it means
Right,
nothing.
right.
But she is the favorite on a lot of the gambling sites where you can bet on
awesome.
the Voice. So just throwing that out there. Another local story, and I've kind of been hinting to this to you as well. I don't know if you saw this weekend, Penn State men's basketball upset number 17 Illinois. I'm a big. This is so corny because I'm a weirdo. I really like Illinois basketball because their head coach is Brad Underwood, and he is, in my opinion, he's one of the best X's and O's coaches in the country.
Of course, Brad Underwood. I know all about him.
So to me, beating Illinois is a big deal, especially their top 25 team. It's a good Big Ten win. Penn State men's basketball is going to make the tournament this year. It's happening.
He's not Blair Underwood's brother, is he?
I don't know.
Do you know who Blair Underwood? He was an actor.
Yes.
You know who Blair? Okay,
Yes.
Sorry, I thought that was funny.
It was fun.
What we saw, we just went up. Our basketball program just went up to see the Michigan State game on Wednesday, and Penn State was tied at halftime.
Yep.
I think with 5 minutes to go, they were down 1.
Yep.
And I looked at my buddy, one of the assistant coaches next to me. I said, Penn State's going to win this game. And then they went cold right after I said it.
Sure.
So that was probably a lot of my fault.
Yes.
But for 35 minutes, they were. And when you're watching, if you didn't know anything, if you knew basketball, but you didn't know the hype of Izzo and who Michigan State is and who Penn State's been, if you're just watching these teams, you're like, they're even. They are even.
Oh, totally. And the other thing about Penn State men, and I was telling this maybe 2 weeks ago, I was saying this to you, they are incredibly fun to root for because they are undersized. They really do they play defense. They play together. It's not this idea where it's like this one star and he's like carrying them, or they're like this super athletic team and they're huge. I mean, they are like 6'3", 6'4" across the board. They switch everything. They defend. They shoot. They are really, really, really easy to get behind. They are easy to cheer for and want to win because there's obviously Penn State will always be an underdog for now, but it's even deeper where they're undersized. They're probably not as deep as our teams, and yet they are finding ways to play with some of the better programs in the country. They're going to make March Madness.
And I'm sure that because of the way basketball is, and, they're college kids and they're on the road and the grind, they'll have a couple clunkers. But the whole aspect of, they're going to go on the road and they're going to lose by double figures is not going to happen very often. They can compete.
And they're kind of built for the way they can all shoot it. They can all handle it. It's a fun team.
I agree with you. They don't have one superstar, so they end up giving him the ball and 4 guys watching. Correct. They always play.
I agree.
And, it is going to be. I've said this. I have no idea why. Penn State. Oh, I got a story for you. Did you know Penn State, my buddy who won the game, we're talking about how good is.
Yeah.
Or how good the team is this year. He said they almost hired Jim Valvano.
Oh, really?
Back in the 80s. And apparently Paterno said, and they said Valvano shows up and he's long black leather. He's got black. He's got this. He's got that on. And the legend has it. This is all legend that Paterno's like, we're small town country folks here. We don't. Sure. And they said Valvano's like, I can be small town. And they said he rips his jacket off and he throws it. He takes his hat off and he's like, look, I can be as small town as the other guy. And they didn't hire him. What I said Valvano should have said is, do you want small town country kids playing on your basketball team, or do you want big city kids playing on your basketball team? Because that's how you're going to win.
Yeah.
But I've said this for years. You get to certain places, and I think Penn State was one of them. I don't think Paterno wanted the basketball team to be good.
Might not have. We'll never know, but there's a chance.
As long as the basketball team sucks, and then all the spotlight is on the football team. And I think for years and years and years, Penn State not only did it not bother them that they didn't have good basketball team.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think they because I think this happens with a lot of the nerd schools.
Uh-huh.
If a nerd school all of a sudden has a good football team, it hurts their academic reputation around.
Right.
Like, I think when Duke sucks at football, they don't care. When Northwestern sucks at football, I think there's like the school presidents and stuff, it's kind of a feather in their cap to say, we're not lowering our academic standards to win football games. And that's why we're 1-11. I think that happens at places.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
So, all right, there's my 2 cents.
No, it was good. Just a couple of other these are some other headlines going around. I don't know if you saw Brittany Griner return to practice.
I thought you could say returned home, and I was about to be as obnoxious as
no. Brittany Griner, she returned. She was working out. There's video of her working out as well. Did you see the bald eagle thing that happened? So in Minnesota, 3 bald eagles died, and there are 10 now in
custody.
Yeah, custody. There's 10 that are sick. Apparently, it's because some clinic dumped euthanized animals. And so the bald eagles then picked at the euthanized animals, made them sick. So they're having a crisis with bald eagles in Minnesota. So I didn't know if you saw it or not. I didn't know. I thought you incinerated euthanized animals or deceased animals. I thought. I could be wrong on that, but I thought that's what those facilities were supposed to do.
So now riddle me this. Like, give me a bald eagle population in Minnesota.
I mean, it's probably higher than most of the country. Pennsylvania's has done very well as of recently. I don't know if you've read or seen anything about that, but the bald eagle has made its comeback in a way in Pennsylvania. In Minnesota, I would assume it's doing fine.
So they're not afraid that this one clinic is going to make the bald eagle extinct?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not maybe 20, 30 years ago in Pennsylvania, it probably would have been a problem. But the other one that I wanted to mention to you, I don't know if you saw. So FTX, SBF, he's been doing these interviews. He's been going around. The BBC did an interview, and the BBC asked how he planned to pay back the people if he had a plan.
And he said, "I'm not."
To pay back. Oh, it was even better than that. Quote, "I would give anything to be able to start another business, to be able to pay back the initial investors, and I'm going to try if I can. I'm going to be thinking about how we can help the world. And if users have gotten much back, I'm going to be thinking about what I can do for them. I think at the very least, I have a duty to FTX users to do right by them as best I can." So Sam Bankman-Fried is now pitching the idea of starting a new business to help the original FTX owners get their money back.
What a guy.
I don't understand how he's not in jail. By the way, I don't know if you saw this too. They are now, is it extradite?
Yeah.
They're not going to extradite him, and they're also not forcing him to testify as of right now. So not only is he not being extradited back to the U.S.
Is he in the Bahamas?
Yes.
Okay.
So he's not being extradited, nor is he being forced to actually testify in front of Congress as of today. It is fast. Not only is he not going to jail, he's not going to be questioned for any of it. He's not technically being investigated right now by the government. And on top of it, he is proposing that he create another company.
He can propose whatever he wants.
It's crazy. Really, really crazy. So there's your FTX update. He's just going to start another business and fix it for everybody.
Did you hear that Trump said he was offered the Marine for that, for the, what's it? I want to say the Sultan of Death, but that's not it.
Merchant of Death.
The Merchant of Death.
Yes.
And he turned it down.
Yes.
And because he said we couldn't let this guy out again. That was his.
I think it's like, personally, when I read that, it made sense to me because I think it just depends on your preference. Like, I think if you're Biden, it really, really mattered to be able to bring somebody home, especially in the world of identity politics. Whereas I think for Trump, it really, really mattered that his constituents, that the people that support him, saw that he wasn't willing to give up the Merchant of Death. And so I think it just, which one mattered more to you, and I think it played out that way, personally.
All right, so I wanted to add this too before I forgot. I got a text from my daughter, who is freshman in college. 'Tis that time of year that they are coming home this week, weather permitting, I guess. Okay. And she's texted, in our house, we watch It's a Wonderful Life every Christmas Eve. Okay. She is now recommending that we add to the tradition, and I'm not sure if I can't believe this is all going to happen on Christmas Eve, but to the Christmas tradition, holiday traditions, we are not only going to have It's a Wonderful Life, we are adding a Muppets Christmas Carol.
Is that one of her favorites?
She would like to throw in a Muppets Christmas Carol every Christmas as well.
But where is it coming from? Is that one of hers?
The first text was, it has shown up on Disney Plus.
Yes.
Okay.
You can watch on Disney Plus now for free if you have Disney.
That was her first thing. Okay. Muppets Christmas Carols on Disney Plus, to which I responded, we own Muppets Christmas Carol. And then she said, we should add it to our Christmas viewing tradition.
I mean, you know my vote.
So I approve.
Yes. I mean, that's an easy.
It
is hit or miss though. I recommended it to some people this weekend and they were like, nah.
Really?
But I think it's the Muppet aspect of it, right? Like, I think, aren't there people that you're either in on the Muppets or you're out on the Muppets?
There are people who are out on the Muppets?
Aren't there people who don't find Muppets funny? Like that's not really.
But it's
their
not
bag?
a funny show. It's not. It's supposed to be.
What is it? The Muppets?
No, the Scrooge.
Yeah, but a Muppets Christmas Carol, I'm sure there's a concept of like comedy behind it. And if the Muppets isn't your flavor of comedy, I could see people kind of we're out.
I get what you're saying. I think it is a way to bring the story to a younger audience. Is what I don't think it was.
But there's a lot of adult humor. Like, they're not like raunchy adult.
No, I get it, because it's an adult story.
It's adult wittiness. Like, you have to kind of be old enough to catch something.
I thought it was. I'm just from a guy who tries to think up stories. The brilliance of the story is why it's such a timeless classic.
Okay.
It is, and I'm just, I don't know. Every time I watch it, I'm just like, the guy was a genius.
Yeah. No, I get it. So we did some holiday stuff this weekend. Some of the girls did is it potpourri? They like made their own potpourri. We did some like
God, that sounds like a great time.
Yeah, no, some holiday baking, things like that. Here's my question to you. So we did the whole Christmas card thing, which, by the way, last time we ever do the handwritten Christmas cards. We amateur hour, we learned the hard way, get the generic photo, print them all out, send them out, don't have to write anything. We biffed that one. Amateur hour at my house. Anyway, we got to talking. Where do you stop the neighbor delivery? Like, I live in a loop now. So where do your neighbors end? How far down do you go before one neighbor says to the other neighbor, like, oh, like, we got this, where'd you get the tray of cookies? And the neighbor's like, well, we got
tray of cookies.
We got them from, you get my point. Whatever. You pick your thing.
This is the way I do
your card, your tray of cookies.
Because as you get older, it is an annual thing, which I've ordered my card. I don't have my Christmas cards yet, but one of these nights I will sit around and spend 3 hours and get all the Christmas cards out. Do I think they would send one to me?
Okay.
And then the other aspect is, will they only send one back to me because I sent them one?
Okay.
Because there's kind of, you feel that obligation. You get one in the mail and you're like, oh, I didn't send them one. Here we go. One goes out real quick. So yeah, I don't, if I have a neighbor and I don't know their names and I don't know, like, and I know, your immediate neighbors, obviously, but sure. If there's a house a couple houses down, you wave, you don't know their name, you just kind of, nah.
Okay, what if, so technically on a normal street block, I would argue you have 5 immediate neighbors.
Correct.
Left, right, across, diagonal. Okay. We know every neighbor, but one diagonal.
Okay.
So 4 out of the 5 we have like met, we have spoken to. Like, do you still give a card to the diagonal neighbor you have not spoken to?
I mean, you can, because you're new. And if you're trying to break the ice and say, this is us and here, but, it's just shocking in the world of, my ex and I lived in a townhouse in Baltimore, south of Baltimore, and we joke about it. The one, we couples, families on each side. The one was he was a state cop. His name was Mark too. He'd been in our house. He'd been in the other side. We waved. And that's all we knew. And we were townhouses.
Sure.
We lived in an apartment for 2 years. We knew none of our neighbors.
Okay.
Nobody. Just apartment building. You come and go. You say hi and the thing. But like, so I don't know. I think there's enough people in your world that matter, that you're friends with, or you've been friends with, or you're just like, hey, it's, you know, some people, it's like the once a year, they're like, hey, I'm going to send them a Christmas card anyway, and just because it's worth the $1.50 for the stamp and the card, as opposed to, I'm kind of obligated to send one to this person because they live over there.
Yeah.
I've never bought into because they live over there.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's good to know. That was good to hear. That was kind of my quandary throughout the weekend as we did holiday cards and different things. So, I appreciate it. I'm taking that. I'm running with it.
I would. Don't feel, you know. But then of course, when one shows up at your place, you're like, oh my God, we gotta write this one out. And then you run it across the street. And
is that what you?
And then you lie and say, sorry, we just got them out. They were late. We were scrambling, and you know. But you get that too. Yeah. You get the whole, because it's one of the funny things when the ones that come on like December 23rd, and now you're like, I don't even have time.
Sure.
I don't even have time to get it back to them.
But then the following year, don't you get out the old cards and then
kind of. I used to have a really good list on a legal pad and I lost it.
Okay.
And so now I kind of scramble it through, and but yeah, it is that's one of the interesting things for me as kind of time goes on, because you always meet new people. Like here, you know, we have new coworkers. You know, when you get into new activity, like now that I'm coaching, you know, and you have new, not only just assistants, and you have people all the way through the program, and then you have old coworkers that you used to send cards to,
right? But
you're like, and when you left the old job, you're like, hey, we'll stay in touch, and hey, and you think, I haven't heard from them in 9 months. Sure. Either way,
everyone's busy.
So it kind of, who stays on the card list, who doesn't.
Yeah.
That becomes an interesting Christmas card thing as well.
Yeah. No.
Part of the fun.
The part of the fun was the realization of, we are getting a photo next year, we are slapping it on some program, we're printing them out, and we're sending them. That was the fun. That
I will say this. I have a buddy, and his family, this is back, I think his oldest brother was born in 1963. And every year they would get the Christmas cards out. And you could see every year, and you'd watch like the powder blue suit get passed down. They had 5 boys. Okay. And I knew this as a teen, you know, you would just go in and you would look at them. And I remember as a teenager thinking, that's going to be me someday. Once I have a kid, I'm going to do Christmas cards every year. And you will find, like, as a guy, the Christmas card was my baby. Even, you know, and my ex knew, like, we would discuss, but I had veto power over the Christmas card, because I was the guy that went to the kiosk, and I did the background, and I typed it out, and I was, you know, and I did all this stuff. So I have been for my daughter's 21, so this is our 22nd Christmas card.
Yeah.
Now I don't always take the picture. Like this year, the kids were on vacation with my ex, and she sent this picture. She's like, we got some good ones, and I think one of these is going to work.
Okay.
And then I print them out and I give them to her, and we all send the same Christmas card now. And but yeah, I've been on board with it. I've sat at the back in, now I think more people do it online now than but you had to go to like Walmart or Sam's Club or one of those places, and there's the machine and you're looking through, and I've tapped strangers on the shoulder and been like, hey, do these colors match? Do these?
Right.
And I remember one lady, I asked one lady, and she gave me this very vivid, like, no, it works, and this is why, and blah, blah, blah. And at the end, I was like, oh, I just wondered if it looked good. And then she looked at me and goes, well, I was an art major. And I was like, oh, well, there you go. Thank you. But yes.
So she could help you out. She knew it. Real quick, before we hop off for today, thank you to Weis Markets, grocery rewards, gas rewards. Holiday season's coming up. If you don't have the time to walk through the store, no problem. Go online, go to weismarkets.com, do the Weis to Go plan. You can select what you need to order. They'll grab it all for you. You show up, you pick it up, it's ready to go. Weis to Go for you at weismarkets.com.
And I'll tell you, nowadays, grocery stores like Weis Markets are great for stocking stuffer things, stupid things like chapstick and toothpaste and all those, you can bang out everybody's stocking in Weis Markets. And you can get everything from little notebooks to pen sets to all that kind of stuff. Because it's so stupid, but when you get that little chapstick in your thing in the dead of winter, you're like, ooh, this is going to come in handy. So, yes.
Yes, I look forward to the stocking very much so. Anything else before we go for today?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the dominance of the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay. The Eagles stole the show, unfortunately.
Whatever. The Army-Navy game was fun. If you didn't see any of the Army-Navy game. I was going to ask you this. I cannot remember the name of the Christmas movie with Ryan Reynolds and
Just Friends.
No. The new one.
Spirited.
What's it on?
Apple TV.
Apple TV. Okay. That's
I should say Apple Plus is what it's on.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't think I get Apple Plus.
Probably not.
So
you might though. You have an Apple, you have an iPhone, so you do have an Apple account. So you may, because they were doing this where like you get it for a year and I don't know. So you might have it and you don't even realize it.
So this is what I do in those situations. I wait till my kids get home and I ask them if we have it.
There you go.
And then there we go.
That'll work.
Yeah, but it is. Snow is coming, it seems.
Yeah.
So that kind of will help with the spirit. If you are doing most of your shopping online, don't wait much longer.
Yes.
If you want it to be here on time. Right. There is always that value to the late present because you get so inundated on December 25th.
Right.
So when it's December 28th and you're like, here, this is for you.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a surprise to that. But yeah, if you're doing all your stuff online, don't delay much longer.
Do you give I don't want to go on a tangent, but I usually give wedding gifts after the wedding. I usually do not bring the gift to the wedding. They do not remember. Zero chance they are going to have a memory or that they remember that you brought a wedding gift. They're not.
Well, no, they don't even open them. They pile them in the back of mom's SUV and take them home. I
will typically try to give the wedding gifts a month after the wedding.
But that's because you haven't bought it yet and you're running behind.
No, sincerely, it's bought because it's the register. For me, you're good at buying gifts. I am not. So for a wedding, when there's a registry, like for me, that is like golden, like awesome. I don't have to think. I'm going to the registry, I'm getting something. But if you give it to them like a month later, there's a memory. It's like, oh my goodness, like the honeymoon's over. Now it's like, it's kind of like a subtle remember of like, oh yeah, we did that thing a month ago, and here you go. And
there's part of me that's good at buying gifts. I'll tell you, the part I'm good at is seeing something and being like, oh, that person, and I'll buy it in May, I'll buy it in June. I'm not always good at knowing where I put it, but then once you get through that stuff and you just buy throughout the season, and then you get to the end and you realize, oh, I have nothing for this person, I have nothing for this person, that's when I struggle. Because if it hasn't just kind of, what word am I looking for? Organically come to me,
right?
And now I've got to like grind it out, that's where I struggle.
Yeah. I think I might apply my wedding strategy to Christmas now. Like
that is good.
Like second week of January.
I thought you were going to say
out presents.
I thought you were going to say you wait 6 months and see how they're doing.
No.
And you call them up and you're like, listen, I mean, I like you guys and everything. I'm rooting for you, but I've seen I'm not really sure this is going to take.
Yeah.
So I'll just hold off for a couple years. Like you get a mortgage and a couple kids, I'll get you a wedding gift, but I don't see it happen.
Sure.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
No, because people live together before they get married.
No,
like it's so different now. I feel like a lot of times now when people are getting married, it's not so much it's going to work, but I feel like a lot of them have already moved in together. A lot of them already have
now it's just legal. It's a legal document that changes like visitation rights in hospitals and estate planning and things like that. No, I'm with you.
No.
Right. So wait, let me extrapolate. Are you saying now your girlfriend has no desire to marry you now that you live together? Is that what you're saying? She's been like, oh my gosh.
We've had conversations about like not the idiocy of marriage, but just the idea of like, if we like, what would change? What would be, we'd get to have a party.
Yes. The reception is a blast.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
We'd get to have a party and it would, but like at the end of the day, And that doesn't mean we won't do it. I'm just saying, though, hypothetically, like we have talked about the idea of like, it's not like it doesn't make things worse. It doesn't make things better. It doesn't, like, it just is.
I wonder, and this is the double-edged sword of it, the psychology of the one side, the aspect of commitment, and like and then the other aspect of it is like, if you're not married, like, listen, if you really piss me off, I can leave, and it's not that hard. We don't need judges, we don't need attorneys, we don't need anything. I'll just pack my stuff up and go. And I wonder if that makes I wonder the couples who've been together for 20 years who never got married, if their happiness level is any less or more times is it greater because there's a lack of taken for granted. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe they feel like, maybe there's a taken for granted and a staleness to it anyway. I don't know. But it would be interesting because I've known people who've dated for over a decade, over 2 decades, and they're like, well, it's working the way it is, so why would we change it?
Sure.
So anyway, be that as it may.
No, I'm with you. Go ahead, sign us off. End us for today.
Well, welcome. Thank you for watching the Midday Show. Enjoy your Monday night. Again, brace for the snow. If you got to go out and get rock salt and get gasoline for the snow blower, or dig out the shovels from the back of the shed or wherever it is, because it seems like it's coming. And we will be here to guide you up to that. And tonight, Monday Night Football, and more Christmas shows.
We're excited.
There we go. So thank you for watching today. I'm Mark Messina. He is Jeff Everett. And we will be back here tomorrow to talk about another Christmas show. I'm probably not watching one tonight, but Jeff will, because he's like that.
I am.